Hello, Kentucky. Rumors always involve big teams like Kentucky, and this could be no different. Rumors indicate that Kentucky could face UConn or St. John's in the CBS Sports Classic. Could this really happen? Who would you prefer to face the Cats? At the end of the video, you can tell us. Let's analyze the news. As mentioned, recent rumors indicate that the Wildcats may have a new opponent in the 2025 CBS Sports Classic, with possible matchups against UConn or St. John's. The news, which is already starting to circulate in Lexington, arouses not only curiosity, but also a growing expectation about what this could mean for the future of the program with Mark Pope. Since 2014, the CBS Sport Classic has been one of the most prestigious events of the college basketball regular season. Composed of four historic giants, Kentucky, UCLA, UNC, and Ohio State, the tournament offers high-level games that often serve as preludes to the March contests. However, rumors suggest that the event's classic lineup may soon change. Matt Jones, from Kentucky Sports Radio, KSR, brought up the possibility that UCLA could leave the tournament, making room for new participants. Among the names being floated are two institutions with rich histories in college basketball, UConn and St. John's. If confirmed, the meeting between Kentucky and St. John's would be a special moment, full of nostalgia and emotion. That's because such a matchup would pit Mark Pope against Rick Pitino, two names that have a deep connection to the history of the Wildcats program. Pitino, an absolute icon in Lexington, led Kentucky during one of the most glorious phases in its history, winning the national title in 1996 and transforming the program into an undisputed powerhouse. His relationship with Kentucky fans remains calm, even after his departure. Now at the helm of St. John's, he remains a respected and admired figure. A matchup between Pope and Pitino would be more than just a game. It would be a celebration of the continuity and evolution of Kentucky basketball's legacy. On the other hand, the possibility of facing UConn brings with it a long-standing and storied rivalry. The two programs last met in 2014 in the NCAA National Championship game, when the Huskies upset the Wildcats. Since then, Kentucky has sought to reaffirm its position as one of the most dominant forces in college basketball, while UConn has cemented its status with more titles in the years since. A new matchup between these two powerhouses would be a perfect opportunity to fuel that rivalry and test the current Wildcats roster against one of the most consistent programs in the country. Additionally, the addition of either UConn or St. John's to the CBS Sports Classic would significantly increase the difficulty of Kentucky's non-conference schedule. Mark Pope, known for his philosophy of seeking out challenges to prepare his team for the season, would certainly see this as a golden opportunity. Facing high-caliber opponents outside of the conference has always been a Kentucky trademark, and that tradition appears to be about to take on a new chapter. Games like these not only prepare players for the season's defining moments, but they also help build the resumes needed to secure a strong position in the postseason. Another important detail is where the CBS Sports Classic will be held this year: Atlanta. The city, which breathes basketball and has a passionate fan base, promises to be a worthy stage for these matchups. Whether against UConn or St. John's, the Wildcats can expect a vibrant and packed atmosphere, with fans on both sides creating a unique atmosphere. For Kentucky's players, this will be an opportunity to showcase their talent in a grand setting, in front of the watchful eyes of recruiters, analysts, and fans from across the country. Mark Pope has worked tirelessly since taking over the program to keep Kentucky at the top of college basketball. His strategic approach, combined with a renewed focus on player development, has put the Wildcats back on the radar as one of the most promising teams in the country. A tough schedule with opponents of the caliber of UConn or St. John's will only help this project move forward even more quickly. In addition, Facing renowned coaches like Dan Hurley, UConn, or Rick Pitino, St. John's, will be a valuable test for Pope and will further validate his work. Let's move forward. And who remembers Askew? When Devin Askew arrived at Kentucky, he carried the burden of being one of the most promising point guards in high school. The 2020-21 season, however, was a difficult chapter for everyone in Lexington. Shortened by that year's injury, that campaign ended with the worst record in the program's modern history, a 9-16 that fans would rather leave in the past. Askew, then a freshman, faced the challenges of a rebuilding team, averaging 6.5 points, 2.9 assists, and 2.6 rebounds in 25 games. His numbers, with 34.5% shooting from the field and 27.8% on threes, reflected the difficulty of adapting to an atypical scenario, but also the promise of a talent that needed time to blossom. That season, which counted as a free year due to pandemic rules, was just the starting point for a journey that now takes him to Villanova. After leaving Kentucky, Askew played in Texas, where he played 34 games, but with limited minutes, and in California, where injuries hindered his continuity, restricting him to just 19 games in 2 seasons. It was at Long Beach State in the Big West Conference that the point guard found his best moment. Last season, he shone as a starter in all 32 games, averaging an impressive 18.9 points, for 0.6 rebounds, for 0.5 assists, and 1.5 steals per game. His efficiency also showed notable improvement: 40.1% on field goals, 37.6% on threes, and 88.6% on free throws. These numbers not only highlight his leadership ability on the court, but also his determination to overcome the obstacles that marked previous years. At 23 years old, Askew arrives at Villanova as a mature player, ready to contribute with experience and versatility. Askew's story is a reminder of the lasting impact that the Kentucky program, even at its most challenging, can have on developing athletes. While his time in Lexington was brief and marked by struggles, his time at Kentucky put him on the national radar and paved the way for a college career that few could have predicted would span 6 years. Today, as the Wildcats program reinvents itself under the leadership of Mark Pope, stories like Askew's reinforce the idea that Kentucky basketball is about more than just instant wins. It's about molding players who continue to evolve and inspire. Mark Pope, who took over the Wildcats with a mission to restore the glory of one of college basketball's most storied programs, has brought an infectious energy to Lexington. His approach, centered on dynamic play and talent development, seems aligned with the kind of resilience Askew has demonstrated throughout his career. While the point guard is no longer part of the current roster, his recent rise at Long Beach State and transfer to Villanova are indirect testaments to the foundation that Kentucky provides. Pope, with his vision of building a cohesive and competitive team, certainly sees value in stories of overcoming challenges like this, which can inspire the current Wildcats to pursue their own paths of growth. The news of Askew's transfer to Villanova also highlights the power of the transfer portal, a tool that has reshaped college basketball. By joining fellow Big East prospects Duke Brennan, Bryce Lindsey, Braden Pierce, and Zion Stanford on the roster, Askew will have the chance to compete at a higher level, bringing his experience from 5 different programs. While On3 ranks him outside the top 400 prospects in the portal this offseason, his recent numbers suggest he could be a valuable addition to Villanova, especially in a conference known for its intensity and talent. For Kentucky fans, Devin Askew's story is a sobering one. The 2020-21 season may have been a low point, but it was also the starting point for players who, like Askew, have continued to strive and grow. And we wish the guy success. Comment,